Bihine. Hagam. Shehi. Hey tata. Hey achredesh b'shem havaya. Even though the body of sound, when you produce a sound, there's the individuality of the sound and there's the amplification of the sound, the air. It comes from the lower hey. But Azal Darshu and the Chazal teach us al pasuk yibakah. That the pasuk says that Eibushter created the world with two letters Yud and K. So the Yud would be the source of the sounds, and the Hey would be the lower Hey, the source of the amplification. Says the Rebbe, Hainu Lefi, why is this? Shemakeda v'reishisa, the root and the beginning. Lava lebachin is gilu mehalem, that letters should be revealed from a hidden state to a revealed state. Is Hayud, is the Yud. And then later, Hu mushpa v'nimshach, it flows and is drawn, mi bechinas Hey Allah, from the higher Hey. That it has an expansion of a length and a width, which is the idea of bina. Just as bina shehi hispashtas hasechel anelam, it expands the hidden sechel of chokhmah, in a revealed and accessible and in a broad way in das. And then it comes down also into the heart. That says in Zehar, which we say every Friday, the bina liba. The bina is not only understanding, but it's also feeling. It's in the heart also. And using it, the heart understands. Says the Rebbe, however, and then comes the actual air of the letters. So the idea may begin in Chokhmah, and the Tzuras Ha'osis may begin in Chokhmah, and then it goes through a Hishtalshalus, and when you get to Malchus, the air actually comes out, the Misham Yetzeh Hevel. And then comes out the air, which is Meked Gili Gufa Asias Hadiba, which is the source of the revelation of the body of letters of speech, Hamezgals, which are revealed, Behei Meitois, in the 5 tools through which one communicates, Mehalam Hayud, from the hiddenness of the Yud, into actual speech. So how does an idea develop? It begins in a flash of Chokhmah, comes down into Bina, then comes down into the emotions, then you actually are able to speak it. How do the words go? The words begin with the letter Yud Chokhmah, which is the source of the sounds, and they're revealed through actually audible words in the lower Hey. Continues the Rebbe, and he says the Kmun is Hey Tata, the shape of the lesser Hey, Biksivas, and the way it's written is Gamkin, is also Bespashas Erech Varechev. It also has an expansion of a length and a width that is Maida al Hispashtus. It indicates on the expansion of Bechinas Malchusa Yisbarach, the way the Eibushter is a king, the Malchus Kalilamim is a king over the lower worlds. In other words, the lower Hey represents the way the Eibushter Kaviyachal is actually amplifying his sound to have a relationship with the lesser worlds. Al Hispashtus Bechinas Malchusa Yisbarach, the expansion of the Eibushter's kingship, that is Malchus Kalilamim, the kingship over all of the worlds. Lamailo, Lamata, higher and lower, that sit into the 4 sides. Hamispashtes, that expand, vin mshoches, and they come, Asi is dvaravai, from the letters of the Eibushter speech. Meshikosa bekelsa, it says in Kelis, Basher dvar melech, it's the words of the Eibushter, the words of the king, Shilton, that rules over the lower worlds. Meshikosa b'makamacher, it's discussed in other places at length. So, what he's trying to say here is like this. There's 2 parts to sounds, to letters. The tzura of the Isis is Yud. The Chaim of the Isis is the lower Hey. What gets it from Yud to the lower Hey? The idea comes down from Chokhmah into Bina, from Bina into Midas. In other words, the light of the idea. And then from Midas into Malchus. And here, the words are actually spoken and amplified for the lower worlds. Well, Lahavin Ma'at Mezeh, says the Rebbe in the bracket, to understand a little bit. Inyan Muhus, what is this idea? Look inside. Of Eithis Hadiba Belakus, that the Eibushter speaks, even though Shein Leid Musaguf, Hashem has no body, V'lei HaNefesh Chas Hashem knows you have a soul. So I don't want to go into it here, but Kvanas by it, I explained it, but that Charuch Tzara at length and in brief. Belukut Yaman Chelik Beis Perik Rav Berigid Beis. I and Sham look in the last 2 chapters of Shara Yichud Vamuna. The Alter Rebbe basically says that for the Eibushter's world to be a world, there has to be divisions, and divisions mean there has to be a lot of diversity, and it also means that the Chayas has to be very, very limited. From the Midas of the Eibushter, you can have only 6 creations. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Yisayid. And through the Oistis, you have, for example, Mayim and Oyer, different creations using different letters, even though the Midah is the same, but because different letters are used to express that Midah, it creates a variety of different creations. So we learned in the last 2 days, in other words, the Shir of Yedalid Menachem and the Shir of Tezvav Menachem is, first of all, that the letters, they may be rooted in their Ruchnius and Chochmah, but they come down in their Gashmius into the lower Hay, which is Malchus, and from Malchus they rule the lower world. And there's a Hishtalshlus, it gets from the higher Yud to the lower Hay by going through the interim steps of Bina and Midas. The way I would put it to you is to say that letters are a funny situation. When you speak, you're revealing a power that comes from the very, very essence of your neshama. Words come from the very essence of the neshama. The delivery system to bring the words to your mouth, you should be able to say them, is the seichel and the midas, the idea that you're understanding and feeling in your heart. When you understand something in your heart and you process it, and then you feel it in your mind and you process it, and then you feel it in your heart and then you bring it down into your person, somehow hidden in that experience of ideas and feelings are the letters which are really rooted higher than the seichel and really rooted higher than the midas, but they deliver it until malchus, which is your mouth, when you actually speak them. So what's negate to us is that every time a person speaks intelligently, there is the ruchnis, there's the idea, and then there is the words. The idea is its root is in chachma, it comes down into bina, it comes down into midas. The words themselves, the ruchnis of the words comes from chachma, as we discussed in the shiur of yesterday, and the gashmis is at the lowest level, even though the shadish is higher. The Eibishter creates the world with the letters Yud K, as you'll see in the next shiur.